Testing 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1902. Let's see if there's anybody else out there for this week's check-in. ZS6IP is standing by. Fine, we'll put the background in any event. I remembered why I've got wide angle. I was using something else to do the other training videos, and it didn't lock that little block that I was working in. 1903. Any further check-ins? ZS6IP is standing by.
You are trying to awaken the holiday spirit, eh?
Oh, for sure.
Feeling a bit crap today. I don't know why. I know why. I ate a slice of milk tart. I really feel crap after that.
Yeah, they tend to do that, eh? But let's talk about that at the end. It's not going to be a long net tonight. 1904. Yeah, that's interesting. 1904. And let's see if there's anybody else out there for tonight's check-in. ZS6IP is standing by. You know, while I'm waiting to do the last one, I just want to do a ping test here. I want to see if the ping continues to ping while I'm transmitting. You know, I said it knocks out my 2.4 gig. So let's see if it's knocking anything else out. Right, there we go, 1905. Last call for check-ins. Otherwise, I'm going to start this week's net. ZS6IP is standing by. No, the ping continues. No problems. All right, nothing else heard. Let's get started with the net then tonight. Today is Sunday, the 30th of October, 2022, and the time is 1900 hours. That's Central African time. Zoom is open for those wishing to join this net using the Zoom meeting option. If you do not have the Zoom link, please contact me on WhatsApp 082-859-2684, and I'll send you the link with the greatest of pleasure. We usually begin with amateur radio check-ins on the Roodepoort repeater 145.625 before continuing with the net. So there we go. Greetings to one and all, and welcome to this week's net. This net is broadcast every Sunday evening at 1900, and as I mentioned, is broadcast on selected amateur radio frequencies and on Zoom for the benefit of members of the public and radio amateurs alike. Everyone is welcome to join in and to participate via either of these platforms. And I would like to remind all amateur radio listeners who have not checked in, that you do not need to be a member of any group or club to check in or to use the repeater. or any of the amateur radio bands for that matter. All that is required from you is that you have a valid amateur radio license issued by ECRN. The license issued by ECRN grants you the right to use any of the amateur radio bands at any time, and there is no need to ask for or be given permission from anyone else in order to do so. Also, be advised that this weekly net is not broadcast for the benefit of radio amateurs or for the disaster relief CERT volunteers only. This net is open to all members of the public, and I therefore would like to encourage you all to share the Zoom link with everyone throughout South Africa. Doing so will help us grow the weekly net and will also contribute to disseminating information as far and wide as possible. Okay, ZS6 returning to the beachfront as we look at unpacking the weekly COVID-19 figures. Globally, the reported COVID-19 figures are 630 million and 82,227 compared to last week's figure of 624,502,005. This week, we have seen an increase of 5,580,000 new cases compared to the 3,000, compared to the 3,260,000 reported in the previous week. Please be advised that this is actually 2,320,000 more cases. That's almost doubled in this last week. Compared to the decrease of 18,000, which was reported in the previous week. So I think the World Health Organization statements regarding the next wave having broken out in Europe may very well be contributing to these figures. We'll have to see if there is any confirmation of that reported on probably in the next week or so. All right, I must remind the listeners that several countries have adjusted their testing and reporting protocols, South Africa being one of them. The death toll globally is sitting at 6,588,000 compared to last week's total of 6,567,000. This is an increase of 21,000 deaths this week. Now, just have a close look at this. In the previous week, we only reported 10,163 deaths. The death toll this week to COVID has also doubled. Now, either another wave has come in or countries have started reporting differently yet again. That's concerning. Then we need to do a comparison with South Africa because we've seen an increase in cases for the weekend in 26 October, which is week 43. And of course, South Africa's figures are now released on the Wednesday, which is why 26 October. This week, we saw a total of 2,215 new cases being reported and 54 deaths. ZS6OP is returning compared to the previous week's total of 1,532 new cases and 18 deaths. This is an increase of 683 cases in the last week. It's almost doubled again. Eh? The death toll, on the other hand, is an increase of 36 on the previous week. So even here, our figures really and truly have started to increase compared to the previous week's figures, where we had an increase of, we had a decrease of 58 cases week on week, and a decrease of 11 deaths week on week, going back 2 weeks. Now we're actually seeing much higher figures. Monkeypox is still on the increase globally, with a total of 77,115 cases in total, compared to the previous week's 73,087. This is an increase of 4,028 new cases, whereas the previous week's new cases were only recorded at 1,850. That's almost, that's tripled in terms of the number of new cases on a week-on-week. South Africa this week has reported no new monkeypox cases or deaths, and therefore our figures are still standing at 5. Well, as I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, as the saying goes, no news is good news, but no news is also good news. So let's hope it stays that way. All right, general news. Here's an interesting bit of information, which I think very few people are actually aware of at this moment in time. So let me clear the timer, and we'll come back with the general news. Okay, ZS6-OPS returning. Now, generally speaking, that is, as reported by ENCA today, Sunday the 30th of October, and I quote, some Gauteng residents had a rude awakening this morning. A 4.2 magnitude tremor caused windows to rattle just after 4 a.m. To be more accurate, I personally felt it and woke up to it at 4:25 this morning in the west of the province, says the report. And it continues, as quoted, Western area. Seismic activity about 10 kilometers from Western area in Gauteng gave residents a rude awakening. There have been reports of a 4.2 magnitude tremor hitting Joburg South on Sunday morning. According to the Richter scale, that's a light earthquake. At this point, no damage or casualties have been reported. Residents are being urged to remain vigilant, as aftershocks can be felt hours, days, or even weeks later. This could cause building damage and injury from falling debris. I felt this tremor at 04:25 this morning, as I mentioned, but I must admit I have definitely felt worse, and yes, the windows and everything else were rattling. So, in closing, I'd like to encourage everyone to register as a CERT volunteer. Get on board. Let's get prepared, because I think conditions in all aspects are changing. Right, that brings me to the end of this week's Weekly Net. And as usual, I'd like to see if there are any other late check-ins who wish to be added to the list. So please go ahead with your call sign now. ZS6-OPS standing by. Okay, nothing else heard. Therefore, I'd like to thank all of those who have checked in this week, as well as to those who have joined via Zoom. As the COVID-19 pandemic is still ongoing and affecting millions weekly, please remember to physically distance yourself and to wear a mask in order to protect others, especially the elderly who could lose their lives if infected. And remember, it is always best to sanitize or wash your hands on a regular basis. For the week forward, be safe, be prepared, and of course, be happy. This is ZS6-OPS now releasing 145.625 for general use. Cheers all.